In the year that I've been doing these recordings, going through all the 64 hexagrams in the I Ching and all the particular star fields around us, the sun, from our perspective here, has come back to exactly where we started, which was in gateway number 15. And the significance of the 15 is it's one of the solstice points. So we know our Earth doesn't kind of stand straight up when it's going around the sun. It's on a little bit of a tilt. And as it goes around the sun, the tilt at one part of the year is, the sun is closer to the northern hemisphere, and that's this time of the year now, and it's further away from the southern hemisphere. So this is the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere when the sun moves into gateway number 15. The Earth, of course, exactly opposite it. So the gateway number 15, very significant in this is in the northern hemisphere, the longest day of the year comes with the solstice. In the southern hemisphere, it's the shortest day of the year. And so it's that point in time where we reach the maximum edge. And from here on, in the northern hemisphere, the days are going to get shorter and shorter until we get to the winter solstice, which is gateway number 10. And that's the shortest day of the year. So it's just to see in this moment in time, it's an opportunity to check, where am I in my life? Right? I've exhausted, let's just say, I've used up the first 6 months of the year now, and I'm at the peak of the sun's presence here in the northern hemisphere. And in the southern hemisphere, the shortest days, so the next thing that comes about in the southern hemisphere is all of a sudden the days get longer, the greater capability comes about in those daylight hours. So it's just this opportunity. The solstice is this point in time to recognize, where am I in my life? Am I on track? And so in this year that's gone by, it's an opportunity to just see, have I learned anything in this last year? Has there been any upgrade in my life circumstances? Or am I still exactly where I was a year ago? And if so, maybe it's an opportunity for a course correction. So let's have a look through gateway number 15 and see what it is it involves. These are the pages, and we're calling the 15 the gateway of humanity. Now, there's many different ways in which this gateway can be described, because it's a very particular gateway in that it not only embraces all of humanity and all the extreme ways in which humanity can present itself in the world, all the different climates we can live in, all the different activities we get involved in. We're very versatile in that regard. But, we are living in a carbon-based life form, and the climate here does have its certain limits. And so for life in the human form, there are these certain parameters, but as I say, we can dive very deeply in the ocean, we can fly very high in the sky, we can go out of the Earth's atmosphere. And while we're here, we can be in extremes of heat and cold and altitude and depression. So there's all kinds of different ways in which life can be lived out. So I call the gate humanity, but it can also extend into every living thing. Everything that's got a little bit of a pulse in it is included in gateway number 15. And so it's a very significant gateway in that regard. It's also, when the sun gets into the 15, we're here back in looking at the wheel, and the 15 is right at the bottom of the wheel, and it's in this particular part of the pagan point in time in the year, where it's basically a change of the season. We're moving out of where the hexagrams have the bottom 3 chop marks as broken, receptive. And now when we get to this gateway number 15, the bottom 3 chop marks are broken solid, which is a symbol for mountain, which is a symbol for stillness, for calm. So in these last weeks, we've been very much able to receive, to draw in things, to be inspired in that way, to allow ourselves to learn new things, to see life in a different way. And now we come to this point in time where for the next 8 hexagrams, the bottom part of it is going to be mountain, stillness. How do we absorb this? What do we do with it? right? Do we get out of the doing activity, or can we find that stillness within ourselves? Can we find that sense of calm? And it is the season of Lita. I'm not quite sure of the right pronunciation for the pagan festival, but it is marked both in Eastern and in Western cultures, this change in the season, this recognition. And, you know, if you've ever been to a place like Stonehenge, you will know that the whole setup is embracing the solstice, is embracing that very particular point in time where the sun has reached its very particular viewpoint. It's gone as far north as it's going to go for us from the perspective. So great significance throughout many, many ages of recognizing this turning point in the year. The 15 at the bottom here, we're moving out of the sign of Gemini and we're going into the sign of Cancer. And the fifth gateway, top right-hand corner, this is in the sign of Sagittarius, and the fifth gateway making up the channel of 515, the channel of, we call it rhythm, being in the flow of life, right? So humanity, life, nature, all kinds of things, all living forms in the flow of life, and everything has a season. So this is really the height of the season, the summer season, if you will, in terms of the length of daylight hours and our proximity. So humanity, as I say, many extremes in which humanity plays itself out. And we look at the chop marks there. We have broken, solid, the mountain underneath, and broken on top, the earth on top of the mountain. So there's this whole sense of earth pulling us in a little bit and recognizing, what are we doing here? What's going on here? What is this association that we have with this planet? What's it all about? And it's about embracing the extremes, all the different extremes and ways in which things get lived out and played out, all the multiple different life forms there are here, and how it all combines together to play out in the flow of life. So it says, in all the possible extremes and conditions that life offers, there is a place and role for everyone. When we get into the 192 different life themes in human design, we will know that this gateway, the 15 gateway, is one of the gateways in the what we call the vessel of love. So the 15 is one of these gateways. The 10 opposite is another one. 10 is our behaviors when we are met with challenges in life. How do we behave? Do we embrace the challenges, or do we kind of fade away? The 15, in a sense, is how do we embrace humanity? How do we embrace other people that are on this journey, on this planet at this time? And how do we embrace life around us? So I call it love of humanity, but I could also call it love of life, love of the living, if you will. The other two gateways, the 46, the gate I call serendipity, allowing yourself to be in the right place at the right time with the right attitude. And gateway number 25, the gateway of innocence, you know, the Socratic wisdom. The only thing I know is I don't know, but I'm here, I'm playing my part, I'm living out life. So these are the four gateways that make up this vessel of love. And so this turning of the season, this solstice, is very much a part of that. It's time for us to re-examine, what am I doing here? Am I on track in my life? Am I growing in my life? Am I embracing not just humanity, but every living thing around me in this flow, in this very extraordinary dance? So the commentary here, having friends and acquaintances in all levels of society and nature implies you might have difficulty being dependent on or controlled by anyone in particular. It's just basically saying that you make friends everywhere, that there's a whole level of trust that comes through this 15th gateway, that anybody has potential place in your life. You're just that recognition of life and all the different ways in which life gets played out. So here it's saying dependency can be a little bit of a situation for the 15th gateway. There's this natural sense people are drawn to you and people are drawn into your life. And so in relationship, in partnership, you might have all kinds of programs going on, but there's many distractions because people find their way to be involved with you. And so just that thing of being really clear. who gets how much energy in your life, and being, of course, really clear in your own type and authority. What it says here is these Hexagram 15 offers a bridge that is common to every life form, right? And the fifth gateway is the one that provides the timing for the seasons, for the migrations, for the interactions, for the parties, for the whatever it is that plays out here in this flow of life. So let's have a look towards the lines here. And we start, as always, with the first line. And what you're going to see is the word humility comes up quite a bit. And it's just this recognition, yes, we can be very full of ourselves and very boastful of ourselves, but we can also be very humble in recognizing life is an extraordinary gift. Whatever we want to say about it, or, whatever experiences we have, we really are here to have this experience in physical form, where consciousness can actually know itself through form. And that is our journey here, whatever it is, or however that journey plays out. So it's acknowledging, in a sense, being really grateful to have this experience. And I know it may look like the sky is falling on us and all kinds of terrible things are happening to us. But in a sense, there's a magic to it all, that everything is getting resolved in one way or another. So having the self-discipline to transcend all manner of life issues, that is the baseline for the 15th gateway, is just having that trust, right? And okay, I will play out my life according to this trust. I trust in life itself, whatever happens, whatever comes my way. And it's just, okay, this is what meant to happen for me. Here I am. And I'm not saying, hey, throw type and authority, throw your personal responsibility away. But I am saying, there's a graciousness of being given this life experience here and to go through it and to find ourselves in an extraordinary company. And this is not to say, hey, we have to surrender to every idiot that comes around us. It's just to see, within all of this, we find ourselves able to find the company that really engages well with us, that reaffirms this flow of life on this planet. And it says, you either maintain a sensibility to your nature and needs, or an insecurity that is immodest. What is the greatest gift we can give ourselves? All right, I'll give you the answer. Self-confidence. Has anyone ever encouraged you to be self-confident and you say, oh, no, I don't really know what I'm doing here? But there it is. We're in a time now, we're moving into the age of the individual, and being self-confident is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. Whatever. And we'll just find out, the moment you start comparing yourself, well, I'm supposed to do like this and I've got to do it like that. You compare yourself, you're completely lost in somebody else's story. And so the nature of this 15th gateway is having the humility to be able to connect with anybody. Nobody is greater or lesser than anybody else. We all have our role to play. We're all connected into life. And so honoring the harmony in any relationship allows you to facilitate any enterprise. It's amazing what we can pull off, even in company that seems to be pulling everything the wrong way for us. It's just that thing. Once you get to the humility level of it, come on, let's do this thing. And you find that self-discipline. Doesn't matter what the challenges are, there's always a way through. The other side of it, rushing to enact and pronounce your personal achievements can alienate others. Right? In the sense of seeing, okay, I'm going outside, I'm going to push a little bit my own way rather than engage with the flow, the natural flow of life. And sure enough, there's always this thing, are we human beings or are we human doings? And I just, I think all of us have to remind ourselves every now and again, we're definitely human beings. We're here to be. We're here to be in this experience. First lines, always the foundation of a hexagram. And there's always this kind of nervousness. Do I really know what's going on here? And so the key to this first line of the 15th gateway is be a little humble. Yeah, have a little humility and just see, okay, maybe there's all kinds of different people and different ways in which life can get played out here. The second line, being persistent, finding reassurance by maintaining your sincerity and integrity. Sincerity and integrity. What's the sincerity? To be clear and truthful for myself. And the integrity, yes, I'm going to do it according to my own nature, my own design. Second lines always have this very potential natural quality about things. But there can also be that other side. The moment the second line loses a sense of self-trust, then all kinds of things can go haywire. So again, the 15th gateway has a lot to do with trust. And this is trust in oneself as much as in the company and the situations that life places us in. And it says, your moderation as well as your extreme conduct have a profound effect on others. So remember, one of the key words with the 15 is extreme. You know, the expanded boundaries of what we can do here, of how we can play things out. If you have the opportunity to travel and meet people in different cultures and see all kinds of different ways in which people live things out, you know, the second line has this possibility of being able to adapt into these circumstances very easily. You know, just it's a natural thing, just to, like a duck to water, they just move into these different cultures and situations and environments. And even then, you know, if they happen to be in a, you know, wearing a very different outfit than the locals, you know, the extreme conduct has a profound effect. It's noticeable, and it can help people move into recognizing the flow of life is enormous. The other side of it, you have the strength to accept your own particular ways as natural. There it is. The second line has this very natural presence here. But the moment the second line starts doubting itself, losing self-confidence, comparing, maybe I'm not doing this right, you know, then things come unglued. And it says, by comparing your extreme ways to other people's moderate ones, you can contrive outcomes. And contriving outcomes is always taking things out of what is really natural, what is really the easiest. We get to the third line. Third lines are always in this place of breaking boundaries, trying out something new, experimenting, getting their fingers burned. You know, nobody's done it before. I'm the first one in. Let me try it out. And the third line calls itself being modest, an unwavering commitment to finish what you start. There it is. The third line's in it. It's, you know, not working out so very easily. The connections are not so obvious, but it proceeds. It continues. Accomplishing deeds without asserting your supremacy assures the quality of your whole life. There it is. It's press on. Whatever comes your way, whatever the situations turn out to be, the third line has to trust in the process of getting fingers burned every now and again, getting in situations where it's just awkward, to put it mildly. Things don't work out so very well. But of all the lines, the third line learns things faster than any other line. And it does that by jumping in and taking part in it and going through the full experiment that happens in this 15th gateway. Completing all tasks while you remain unassuming in achievement. When you pull it off, right? You're the first one in, you're the pioneer, you pull it off. You just, okay, well, that's how it was. I managed. On to the next thing. The other side of it, the possibility to communicate a superiority of yourself over other people and their ways. And all of us can have this possibility to feel boastful or assertive in some way or other when it's really not needed. But again, this is about being in the flow of life. This is about embracing humanity and all the different ways in which things can get lived out. There is no ultimately right or wrong way of doing anything. You know, there's only the way of being true to ourselves. And being true to ourselves means we embrace that self-confidence, that we live within ourselves. We live from the inside out rather than reacting to whatever it is the world presents to us. When we get to the fourth line, the line is called centering. restraining any extremes in your life that do not reflect love. So remember, the whole base of the 15th hexagram is love of humanity, love of life itself, love of the flow of life, being in the flow of life. And it says, if love's not on board here, then really it's not right. Love is the only thing that's going on in this universe here. It's the only game in town. We have all kinds of different names for it. Consciousness, God, the essence, existence, all kinds of different words. But love is what is playing out here. And the whole thing in life is to embody and embrace love for all of us. And how do we do that? You know, self-confidence brings about self-love, self-appreciation. And there's just that internal glow. I'm in love with my life. I'm in love with myself. And that flow of love just comes out into the world. So fourth lines are always in that position of wanting to embrace everybody, pull everybody on board. And it just says, the fourth line is, okay, there are many extremes, many different ways in which love can be exhibited or life can be played out. But it's just a reminder, the caution. Make sure that whatever comes through you happens through loving kindness. Being loving and true to the flow of life requires you to constantly check your inner guidance. And this echoes for all of us, checking our inner guidance. What's really going on the inside? What are we really about here? Are we living true to our life, or are we some kind of following some pathway blindly that we've been told this is how you have to do it? There's only one way. Stick within this framework. And here it says the humility to achieve your best in a way that is in accord with your highest ideals. I think we all know there's times when we're absolutely in touch with our life. We're totally on board with what we're doing. We're crystal clear in it. And it embraces our highest ideals. And our highest ideals is to be this presence of love in life, to be in love with whatever it is that's going on around us from the inside. And the other side of this fourth line, a dogmatic approach to going your own way that awkwardly strives for goals. Right? Bending the flow a little bit, sending it in a particular way, rather than just allowing it to take us. So the word centering is a very, very important word. You know, are we living in our center at any particular moment in time? And I just want to share with you a very, very quick meditation about centering. And this is very useful. You'll find this very useful at any time you're confronted by a situation where you're a little off balance and you need to find your center. You need to find your clarity very, very quickly. I call it the elastic band meditation. And you just, for a moment, imagine you've got this massive elastic band, this rubber band. And as you're sitting or standing somewhere, you drop this rubber band and it goes right down into the center of Mother Earth and springs right way back. And if you sense that movement, you'll find immediately you're connected, you're grounded, you're clear, you're centered. And then right after that rubber band comes back, you send it right off into the sky, up into the middle of nowhere. And it comes springing back, and you'll find you're totally connected upwards and downwards at the same time. Very handy little meditation. Good to remember sometimes when you're feeling a little off balance. We get to the fifth line, and the fifth line is this line of fellowship. And goodness knows who's trying to call me at this moment in time, but I'm not taking their call. Fellowship, attuning to the needs of all those in extreme positions. So we say about fifth lines. Fifth lines have this quality of natural guidance, natural leadership. They can see how things can turn out. They can be quite visionary. They can see extraordinary potentials and possibilities, but there's always this thing. Can they make it practical? That is always the challenge for any fifth line, practicality. And here it says fellowship. Okay, so seeing the possibilities, seeing the outcomes, but also seeing, all right, who are the ones that really could benefit from associating with me, for having this sense of humanity, of being embraced, of being recognize, who engage in this level of trust with me. So it's attuning to all those in need in extreme positions. And a lot of times people find themselves quite out on a limb and they don't know where to make that connection. The fifth line can really help them to feel like they're involved. You guide those with less experience through tough situations by virtue or by being brash. Virtue when it's just one-on-one and there's no hierarchy and it's just, yes, I have to be here and it's my role to play this out. Or sometimes extending out and being brash and just let me sort this out for you. And one of the difficult things for fifth lines is to recognize, yes, because they can see and they can recognize easier ways for people to do things. They have a potential to rescue people, to go out of their way. Oh, everybody else is having such a hard time. Let me sort them out, and forgetting about their own circumstances and the fact that maybe their own situation is not so brilliant. You know, they say about the mechanic's car is the one that needs the greatest service, but there it is. That's a fifth line characteristic. Your leadership quality can handle the turbulent flow of life and also maintain humility. And here's this thing, you know, what's this humility? We're all equal. All men are equal. I think that's part of the American Constitution. And it would need to say all people are equal. All men, all women, all those with gender disparities and difficulties in working out where they sit in things. That we're all equal. We're all having this life experience in our own individual, unique way. And the 15th gateway is the one that connects us into this recognition that we're all participating in this same flow of life. And here it says, any push to impose your capabilities on those less competent will end up alienating them. And in a sense, it can come about that the fifth line has this capability to assist people, but there can also be the sense of impatience or superiority. I can see better than you can, rather than just understanding the whole thing works on fellowship, humility. We get to the sixth line, it's called respect or respect, looking back, checking, setting an example by taking responsibility for your own circumstances in life. Sixth lines are always in this position of being the most, perhaps the most capable. They can see exactly what it is that everyone needs. They can see all the different levels within any hexagram, all the different capabilities of providing this love of humanity or this sense of trust or giving people the sense that they belong here. So the sixth line says, okay, there's always this possibility to go overboard on everybody else's behalf. And what this one is saying is, look, check out your own circumstances before you feel obliged to get involved in anybody else's. By accepting and appreciating who you are, you're able to find a clear course through life. This, again, comes down to self-confidence, self-knowledge, self-appreciation, self-love. In the end, that's all that is required of us in this lifetime. Yes, we're born in this life in a particular family, in a particular circumstance, with a very particular chart. The chart is our blueprint for this lifetime. It's all we have to do. It's all we have to be, is be true to the nature of this chart. When we get that, when we understand that, when we fully appreciate that, we find we've been given a MasterCard for this lifetime. We really do have the keys. We have the keys to our own life. And all we got to do is live our life according to our very own specific chart. By accepting and appreciating who you are, you're able to find a clear course through life. And this is the echo. You want to be in the flow of life? Recognize what your design is telling you. You can take charge of and steer any situation at any time and do so with humility. Yes, if you're clear in yourself, it's the easiest thing to guide any situation, steer it where it needs to go. The other side of it, seeking harmony in all interactions, you can blame others when things appear to go wrong. Very easy to put the blame on somebody else when things don't seem to turn out in a way we expect. And let's just say part of this movement that is happening for humanity in this time, this rapid expansion in consciousness that's taking place at the moment, we really are moving into a different mode altogether. I could call it a different level of consciousness we're moving into. And it's just the most important thing to realize. We're moving out of an age of blame. We're moving out of the age of the collective, where it was always everybody else's fault, always pointing the finger somewhere else. We're moving out of that age. It doesn't work anymore. We're moving into the age of the individual, where we have to take individual responsibility. And so the beauty of this 15th gateway is reminding us, humanity is all around us. Life is all around us. Life is a miracle. This planet is a miracle. And we're all here to have this extraordinary life experience, however that turns out. And the bottom line, it all comes down to self-acceptance, self-love, self-appreciation. So there we are.